A lot of candidates out there who are trying to get their names out, and joining us right now to talk about his campaign for Railroad Commissioner, Wayne Christian. Wayne, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Hey, thank you for letting me be back. Good to talk with you again. It's been a year or two.
I know it has been, and you're running for Railroad Commissioner here in the state of Texas. Talk to us a little bit about why you decided to run for Railroad Commissioner this time.
Well, frankly, I got a call from a lot of friends in the industry that are very concerned that, of course, oil being at the price that it's at, the attack we're getting from not only the Obama administration, but we have sunset, which a lot of people are not familiar with that. It's where every few years, I think it's about every dozen years, each agency is totally opened up in a legislative session. And that means with the oil industry right now somewhat limping along because of the prices, people out of jobs, then we may not have our full strength come this next session starting in January. Sunset is where anything can be taken, changed, reassigned, and so the oil and gas industry, the energy industry, will be under total review by the legislature. And that means they can come, say, some group in a city, grab some type of funding from oil and gas. You can have the environmental extremists come in and shut down what they would desire to, put it into the bill. It's a wide open agenda for the entire session for sunset for the Railroad Commission, and I'm the only candidate out there that has 14 years of experience in the legislature, been on the Energy Committee. I know how to argue with those guys, negotiate with those guys and gals, and stand up for energy. No other candidate has that, so I get this phone call asking me please to run, to use what experience I have to save the potential harm that can come to oil and gas in a sunset session.
Visiting with Wayne Christian. Wayne, is that what you're touting in this race? Because there are quite a few others who are running for Railroad Commissioner. Is it experience that separates you from the rest of the field?
Yes, I think hope and change we tried in Washington for quite a bit. And this training on the job first day when we're under sunset review, the first 4 to 5 months of the new commissioner's job, it's just too high risk to the energy industry and the many people that depend on it in Texas. And that's what, Chad, has kept Texas number one in the nation. Had it not been for oil and gas as the basic foundation for our economic strength the last dozen years, Texas, had it not had a positive economic growth, that means the nation would have had negative, and a lot of people aren't aware of that.
Visiting with Wayne Christian, running in the race for Railroad Commissioner. Wayne, what do people need to know about this position of Railroad Commissioner? Because it's one of those, and I've brought it up every single time we have a race for Railroad Commissioner. It's not, the name deceives people, I think.
Exactly. The people, think railroad was railroad, and it's because it was named that way because it's the oldest agency in the state, and it was established back when the railroad was the only means of transporting oil and gas from the oil fields. Mm-hmm. So it was regulating the railroad, the transportation of oil and gas. But, of course, now you fight the Historical Association when you try to change the name to the Energy Commission, and I frankly think there needs to be a change, and there needs to be an education to the public because, again, the people I'm concerned of are that mom and pop. My dad and mom ran a Exxon filling station with Inco back then in Tejon, Texas. And that's what put me through school. That's what paved the way for me to be successful in whatever endeavor and have the privilege of serving for 2 decades in the Texas House and to be talking with you today is oil and gas. And it's those people. I mean, God bless them, Exxon, Conoco, all those folks. We need to make sure they're profitable, that they're shareholders, that our retirement accounts are good with them. But that's not my first concern. My first concern is that mom and dad that are trying to put food on the table and are being laid off because of this oil and gas problem we have where we've got OPEC controlling oil and gas. My long-term goal is to see West Texas crude again become the world standard for the price of oil.
Well, and how can Railroad Commissioner do that?
Well, he just can advocate and defend the industry. We have all these people attacking the industry from every level, from whether it be every segment, especially environmental extremists. And you must have a Railroad Commission that can stand up and use good scientific information and stand up and defend how the industry is conducting their business. Secondly, the Railroad Commission, if there are problems, can defend the public and require those bad actors in the industry to straighten up. because that's what you need. It's kind of a policing force to make sure that the industry, number one, protects the public, but number two, you don't let the Obama EPA come in and shut down legitimate businesses across this state. It cost us, if Obama put in place today the EPA regulations he has currently proposed, it would cost us over $1 trillion and hundreds of thousands of jobs in Texas alone.
Visiting with Wayne Christian, Republican running for railroad commissioner. Wayne, we've got a lot of folks who work in the oil field who listen to the program. A lot of those who are connected to the energy sector. Obviously, we've all seen what the price of oil has gone to right now. We've seen what is happening in Midland. We've seen the chain reaction, you could say. What do you say to those people who are working out there? Where do you see the future of oil heading to, and why? What would you say to those folks who are working in that field? What would you say to them to convince them you're the guy?
Well, I realize that, again, one reason, because I'm running, is because of my family selfishly came from the grassroots, not from the corporate upper level. So I understand the oil and gas industry from the bottom, and I'm talking about people putting food on the table. Secondly, I talked with a friend of mine who is just a neighbor that was a retired petroleum engineer that now consults overseas. He says, quite frankly, we're looking at oil and gas prices like this potentially for the next 5 years. And that scares the devil out of me. And as a railroad commissioner, I'm going to do everything I can to try to make sure that we take advantage of this crude oil exportation, of the liquefaction of natural gas, opening up the ability to export that to overseas and try to get some of our friends and neighbors through Congress. I tell you, that's a national issue, and people say, well, Wayne, why are you talking about that in the Railroad Commission? Because of the 20 years I spent in the Texas legislature, I have probably 24 friends in the Texas delegation in Congress and the 2 U.S. senators. In fact, Ted Cruz's staff is made up of at least 4 of my former staff members. Tyler Norris runs the state of Texas for Cruz. He's the lead. John McClellan down in Houston hires nationally for Ted Cruz. Talking to the senator a couple of weeks ago, and I have a relationship with him. John Cornyn and I co-authored several bills in the Texas legislature, so I am the only one that I'm aware of that's in the race that can turn to Congress and say, hey, guys, we need your help doing this, and work a national program toward helping to get our exported oil and gas up to steam.
Wayne Christian running for railroad commissioner. Wayne, tell folks where they can find you online.
ChristianForTexas.com. That's Christian for Texas, ChristiAN for Texas.com.
All right, and I still like your campaign logo. I think you still have one of the best campaign logos out there.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I didn't do that. It wasn't anybody. My Crayola did not draw that. Good job with it. Somebody knew what they were doing.
Well, it's a good one out there. Wayne, thanks for coming on, and we'll visit with you down the road, okay?
Thank you, my friend.
Have a good one. It's Wayne Christian running for railroad commissioner.